So when passing parameters, the thing that really matters is substitutability. That means that if you have a parameter that's declared to be a particular type, you can pass in any subtype of that type. So here we have two variables declared. We have a birdie and a planey. Birdie has an actual type of bird and an apparent type of bird. And planey has an apparent type of airplane and an actual type of airplane. And remember that both of these are implementations, which means that they are subtypes of flyer. So that means that birdie and planey are both substitutable for any flyer. So they can both be passed in as parameters to this method. So let's do that now and see how it looks. So now we can see that we have touch and go, which is basically the action of flying and just touching down and then lifting off right away, so land and takeoff. And we're going to pass in each of these variables, and they're going to behave differently depending on which one we have passed in. Just for a second, we need to recall that inside of our bird implementation and inside of our airplane implementation, we have implementations of each of these methods. So the bird implementation, for instance, for land is something like hop, hop, hop. And the airplane implementation for land is, of course, completely different. It's something like lower landing gear, and then taxi or something like that. So these are two very, very different implementations. So when we call touch and go with birdie, birdie comes along through here. Remember, its actual type is bird because that's how we instantiated it, but the apparent type of F is flyer. So here we can call land on any flyer because land is defined within flyer. It's listed inside of that interface. But it's going to be the actual type of F that is used to actually run this method. So the actual type of F in this case is a bird, and that means that when we call this passing in birdie, we will get hop, hop. On the other hand, when we pass in planey, the actual type becomes an airplane, and so we will use this implementation instead. We'll get lower landing gear and taxi, and that will just continue through the rest of the method. So you can see that touch and go will behave really, really differently if you're passing in a bird versus if you're passing in an airplane. And this is something called subtype polymorphism, which is a huge word. Polymorphism. And that just means that an object like this has the ability to take on different forms depending how it's instantiated. So in this case, F can behave like a bird or it can behave like an airplane because those are both substitutable subtypes for a flyer.